Hey guys, I'm back in the Brooklyn Navy Yard and I've brought a whole crew this time. So I've got Andrew from Vespa Brooklyn. And then, you know, we're looking at these new Piaggio Wi-Bikes. You've got kind of a website for that or another company?
Yes, so we're Wi-Bike NYC.
Wi-Bike NYC. Man, it's been cool. Your shop is beautiful. And these products, they're refined. You know, Vespa is kind of like the motorized scooters that you sit on and very classic, kind of a European style. You've also got like higher end motorcycles and stuff. And now these electric, like, you know, pedal assist bikes. We've also got Larry over here. And you're the project lead for Wi-Bike North America, right?
Yes, sir.
You've been a big help. I really appreciate all the stats. It's great to meet with someone who's from the company who can give you like the real inside scoop. And then I'm over here with Chris Nolte from Propel Bikes just down the street. And this has been fun because, you know, you've been selling electric bikes since like 2012. You've got great perspective on how the industry's been evolving. And you've been a great help to me, you know, comparing and getting some of the stats too.
Absolutely, always happy to help.
Yeah, so, you know, before we jump into this, got a little bit of information about Piaggio as a company. 1884 is when these guys started. Now they're over $1 billion, like just a big multinational company. They launched Vespa in like 1946, right after World War II, which is interesting. And since then, they've been expanding these bikes. They're brand new for like 2016 in Europe, 2017. We're late 2017 right now. We'll start to see them 2018 at some of the Vespa dealers. Just really polished. That's my feeling, like having gone through and looked closely. So we're looking at the Comfort Plus right here. And the Plus is referring to the NuVinci N360, continuously variable transmission. We've got a belt drive. Normally, I would, you know, it's kind of the Gates belt drive. They got the carbon belt. This one's not. This one's a little bit different. It does not have the center track, but I haven't had any problems. There's actually a kind of a barrier on this side of the chain ring or belt ring, and then a barrier on the inside of the cog in the rear. So you're able to shift at standstill. You're getting really quiet performance. It felt really stiff, responsive, just excellent. It's neat to see that. But if you didn't want to get the Plus, you could just go with the standard Comfort, which is over here. It's a little bit more affordable. It has a Shimano Deore 9-speed traditional sprockets, derailleur. You can't shift that at standstill, but it's a little bit lighter weight and a little bit crisper. And it's a little bit more affordable, as I said. So $3,099 on that one. And I want to call out before we go back, we've got a more traditional, you know, we've got two stanchions here, slider suspension and a seat post suspension versus, come over here to the Plus model, and you've got a little bit shorter travel, but sleeker look, you know, paint matched fork right there. This is about 20 millimeters, maybe 25 millimeters of travel, no seat post suspension, but you're able to bring that down a little bit lower. So if you're someone who's really short, this comes in a couple of different sizes. We're looking at the 50 right here, but it also comes in 47. That's the smaller one. And if you're someone who's a little bit taller, they even have a high step frame. So isn't it cool to be able to see all these at once? So this is also the Comfort Plus. It's got the NuVinci, $36.99, so $600 more and a little bit of weight, you know. But if this bike tips over or gets bumped at a rack, there's a lot less sensitivity on the side of the bike. You'll notice the horizontal dropouts, the custom frame, this cutaway so they can actually get that belt on and do service. It takes a lot of engineering work to get something custom like this. But I mean, you see that everywhere on this bike. Look at this really cool fin. It reminds me of the antennas on the back of some BMW cars and stuff. Really sleek and stylish. Even the tubing here, so hydroformed, really smooth welds. Gloss black on this one. If you just start out with the standard Comfort, it's gloss black or gloss white. When you go up to the Plus, with the step-thru, you've got this Sabia, kind of a sand, light brown color, also gloss, really nice internally routed cables, just a lot of beauty here. This is leather, ergonomic grips. There's the grip shifter for the NuVinci. So see there's a little guy climbing a hill. You can make the hill steeper, which makes it easier to climb, or flatten it out, and that's gonna help you reach the top assisted speed of 20 miles per hour. And then back here to the Velo saddle, also leather, really nice. And I believe that seat post right there is 31.6 millimeters. So this is something that if you wanted to aftermarket, you could add a little suspension and, you know, get some cushion, because these tires are a bit more efficient. Really beautiful though. I like the styling on them. They're also from Continental, and you know, it's a 28 by 1.5, kind of a 700C setup on these. So I guess, you know, when I'm riding these, they even say like 65 PSI. So it's a little bit higher. I didn't see a PSI range, whereas some of the other bikes, they give you, you know, like, I guess I was told these are running at 55 when they set them up a lot of times to add some cushion. Reflective sidewall stripe, puncture resistant, and that light cream color. So they're getting a little bit dirty because we're out here in the Navy Yard cruising around, but I'm not getting wet or dirty because of those fenders. I really like those. Again, not rattling. They feel very solid. And then the integrated lights. That's the Nano 50 from AXA, aimable, and it's got this kind of a cutoff design. You see a lot in Europe because they have regulations about not blinding people when you're riding, like the little badge. Got a little bit of just some extra accents. An integrated rack right here with a pannier hanger that's a bit lower, and then standard platform on top. So if you wanted to, I think we have it set up over here. Piaggio has a bag. This is a trunk bag, and you can fasten it to the rack, and then these unzip and actually fold down if you need that extra capacity. Big reflector, another reflector, and an integrated Supernova E3 light at the back. So you've got a headlight, you've got a rear light. They're integrated, which means they run off the main battery. You don't have to worry about separate batteries running out, that kind of thing. A little bit more complexity and cost. That's where some of the cost is coming from. These things MSRP for, as I was saying, $3,099 starting out if you just go with the standard sprocket and derailleur, but you get a 2-year comprehensive warranty and you get it from a dealer. So, you know, these guys are used to servicing motorcycles and stuff, and e-bikes probably like no big deal. 175 millimeter cranks on this one. Again, this is the medium size frame, about 19.5 inches. I did measure the standover height, the width, the length, all of those other stats back at the website. You know, I care a lot about getting that right. And as I was riding it, I tried to get a sense for like, well, is there frame flex on this? It is a step-through frame, but when you look at where a lot of the weight is, that motor right there, this is a proprietary Piaggio motor. It's sensing rear wheel speed, pedal cadence, pedal torque, and pedal speed. So are you ramping up faster and really trying to accelerate? Apparently, that's 4 strong signals right there. Pretty amazing. 9.9 pounds on that, a little bit heavier than some of the other motors I see, and like 8.8 pounds is how much Bosch weighs. But it offers up to 60 Newton meters of torque, which is great. Again, Bosch Performance is about 63, so they're right in there. I did notice it's square tapered bottom bracket there versus splined. That's something I think about with like mountain bikes. Spline means it has like all these little indentations where it slides on versus just 4 walls, like square tapered. The battery pack is 6.1 pounds. You can charge it on or off the bike, and it's got that big handle built right in. But I love that. Coming back to where the weight is, low and center. And look at the branding right there, really nice. Here's the side of the battery pack. Here's a little cover for the charging port. I love that. And we might take it off here. That'd be kind of cool to see what it looks like underneath. Chris is gonna help me out with the key. Just insert it, twist it. There we go, tips right out. This reminds me of the Impulse batteries for some of the Focus bikes a while back. But even the siding, the casing, this plastic is color matched to the bike. Same thing with the chainring. Oh, let's see if I can, there we go. Kind of click it in, boom. Oh yeah, it feels really solid, really nice. I can tell they engineered this well, and that's paint matched as well on the plastic chain cover. So if you're someone who's wearing pants or a skirt on this bike, you're not gonna have to worry about getting as messy, especially with the belt drive, of course. So stopping is also important. When you talk about a little bit of extra weight, this is about 60.5 pounds on this e-bike, which is, it's on the heavier side, but that part of that's because you got the aluminum alloy fenders, and you've got the rack, and you've got, you know, pretty capable motor for what is effectively like a get around town, almost like a cruiser neighborhood bike, at least in this form. We do have some higher end bikes that we're gonna check out later. But yeah, I think about that, like, okay, you know, are you gonna be able to stop? Coming back to the battery capacity, 37 volts, 11.7, actually 11.6 amp hours. It has Samsung cells, and they're the high capacity cells. So this is nicer stuff. That's maybe part of what you're paying for. You can see they've got a little badge here, class 1, so up to 20 miles per hour, 350 watt, 350 watt to 500 watts on that motor if you're in America. In Europe, they rate them at, 250 watts, and that's kind of the legal limit there. Really awesome wheel set, by the way. There's so many things I don't want to forget. Adjustable length kickstand, it's mounted plenty out of the way. You're not going to collide with your crank arms. 160 millimeter disc brake rotor in the rear. I believe these are the Shimano 315s, hydraulic. 180 in the front, so you do get most of your stopping power up front. It's nice that they didn't just match them 160, they went 180 up front to help you out. And then braking is not going to be a problem. These are 2-finger adjustable reach levers. You can bring them in if you have shorter fingers, maybe just like a petite rider. Coming back to that different size, the 47 is the smaller one. And then the cockpit, okay? So we've got the bell, we've got that grip shift over here. We've got this awesome control pad that seems almost completely like sealed against water, rubberized, and then this big display panel in the middle, and this is removable. I think you can just, I'm trying to be careful with one hand, but yeah, look at that. Pops right off. So you could take this with you. You wouldn't have to worry about people, you know, it's out in the sun all day or the rain. It can kind of get beat up or something. A lot of the displays on e-bikes, they aren't removable like this. I like that this one is. And then there's a lot to talk about in terms of how this works, kind of locking the bike. There's even an integrated like GPS option. They give you a couple years for free, so it's communicating like its location, and if it moves, if you've left the bike locked, it lets you know like someone's stealing your bike. We've seen more of that from companies like Stromer in recent years, and it's cool to see it here as well. So that's something I think about. I'm gonna pop that back on and maybe just give you the basic overview. So I press the power button there for a second, actually a couple seconds, there we go. And then it is backlit, but it's monochrome, so we've got a little bit of like light dark going on. Pretty easy to read in direct light. Battery capacity, 5 bars. I've got like a clock in the top right. Speed, it's in miles per hour. Of course, we can adjust that. So right next to speed, we've got assist level. Right now it's an off. If I arrow up, it goes to eco, tour, and power. And power is the highest. So, you know, we got 3 levels there. As I'm pedaling, you can actually see power indicated inside the gear, and then on the outside there's another power level, so it's like my power versus the motor power, and you get a feel for how much work the bike is doing. And of course in the higher levels of assist, the bike will do more. And this thing's pretty easy to read, like even way up here. I like the swept back handlebars, just a really comfortable feel. And then down here we've got the lights button, so we can press that. We've got a lights icon. So there is a walk mode, but in order to make that work, we have to take it all the way back down to off. There we go. And we'll hold it for a second, and there we go. The motor's pushing the bike. So let's pretend that you're out for a picnic and you're walking through a park and it's crowded, but you've got all this stuff on the back of your bike. You know, it's nice to have a little bit of help, especially if you're going through grass or up a hill, or maybe you just need to get off and walk with a friend. Some of the bikes don't have walk mode because they don't want it to appear like a throttle, and these guys have gone out of their way to put walk mode in off. So it, you know, again, no confusion. Nice to have that. Pretty simple with the cockpit. But I'm gonna go ahead and pan over to, you know, being in the shop, and we can see a phone up, you know, again, the glare right now with the phone's a little hard to see, and go through the app, because the app is really cool. It runs off of Bluetooth, and the idea is that you can adjust, you know, a whole range of settings. Instead of just a few settings here, you get like 10 levels of power, and there's a bunch of different drive modes. So let's go check that out. Hey guys, so we're back in the shop. This is a good setting because you can see the LCD glowing. It's a little bit, you know, you're not getting the harsh daylight that we had earlier, and Chris's phone is going to be accessible. We're going to talk about the app. So there's this mode button down here, and when you press it, it cycles through some of the trip stats, but one of the areas says settings, and if you hold mode, then it enters into some submenus that let you connect to your phone via Bluetooth, or like a heart rate monitor via AMP+. So Chris has already set his phone up. He's got the app. It's called the Wi-Bike app. So if you search online, and keep in mind this is like 2017, 2018. This app could change over time, but we wanted to dig in a little bit for what you get now. First of all, I love that it shows the battery percentage, that's also one of the sub readouts here. So many electric bikes just have like the 5 ticks, which is like 20% increments. But if there's only 1 tick, you don't know, 20% or 0%. So the percentage is really nice. Up here at the top, we have calories burned, speed, kilometers per hour right now, rotations per minute. That is neat. I experienced this. It actually kept up with me pretty well. The experience was fluid. It was a little softer, but it didn't fade out when I was at 20. It actually went a little above 20 in my experience. Maybe that's because I'm a relatively lightweight rider. And then beats per minute, that's your heart rate. So coming back to the calories and stuff, some of that might be refined depending on if you have that heart rate monitor. And then in the middle, speed in kilometers per hour. So very cool. What's this down at the bottom, Chris? It says assist level?
So you can do assistance levels in 10 increments. So you could go, you could adjust it a little bit more than you can on the standard display. Huh. And then you also have options for standard, for city, hill, or you can do on fitness, which you can change how much effort you want to put in as a rider. Say I wanted to do 120 watts and I want the bike to make up the rest. You can kind of make that so the bike automatically adjusts to that.
It looks like the highest end is 200 watts. Guys, this is what I'm always talking about. People are like, I want a 500 watt motor or whatever, and it's like the highest that they think you can put out is 200. So you've got a 350 watt nominal rated motor here up to 500. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of neat, and it sort of speaks to the power of these electric bikes. They more than double your human power.
Absolutely.
And that's a really fit rider, putting out 200 watts.
Yeah, and then from there you can just go into the different settings. You have the dashboard, destination, which you can use as a map. You can program in your destination, and it sets to define your location and give you navigation.
We did that earlier, and it seems like it uses the Google Maps API. It worked really well. It was quick, and you could save some of your locations. So you could be like, go home, you know?
Right.
It's nice. That was a great feature.
Yep, yeah, and then you have that under the favorites. Then you have your profile, which is kind of cool. So you can program in your age and your height and everything else. And it will recommend some different details about the bike based on the data that you enter.
And that is so cool.
It really is.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Like, this was something I was excited about. The tire only said 65 PSI max. But then Larry was like, we set this up with 55 PSI usually.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting. I'm only like a 135 pound rider. I'm kind of light. And the super high PSI can feel stiff sometimes. So the app, I've never seen that before. The app actually tells you how full to inflate the tires for like the optimal ride experience based on your details, based on the details. Yeah. And then the seat post height, like they're like 65.7 centimeters of height there. Yeah, thanks, Chris. What else we got?
Yep, and then from there you have the diagnostics. This is basically, so you have these green indicators telling you that everything's okay on the bike at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also communicate this sort of information to your dealer to make sure that they are aware of, you know, what app version you're on and all these different sort of things. And you also have access to the handbook online, which gives you more details about the app.
Yeah, that's nice, because lugging that thing around, it was pretty dense. There's a lot there, but it's a car company kind of, you know, like the motorcycles and the Vespas. I noticed that it's not just, is the system okay? It's like looking at each part, the display, the battery, the motor, and apparently this uses the CAN bus system, which is an automotive standard that gives you more information, not just is it okay, but what might be wrong.
Right, absolutely.
That's great.
Yep, and then from there you have the heart rate monitor. Right now we don't have anything connected, but you can do different things. And I think on some of the H-Sync bikes, you might even be able to program your heart rate and have the bike adjust accordingly, which is kind of cool.
I feel like I want to maintain like 135 beats per minute and just get a workout.
Yeah, it's really interesting that, you know, kind of bikes going into that space some more. You can do quite a bit with that. And then this is something that's particularly exciting, this ability to actually locate your bike, and you have this GPS system.
Okay, so we were messing with that earlier, and you like locked the bike, and we pretended we were going away. And one of the other interesting features is like you can take this display off, and that acts as like a key for the bike, but then you could use your phone as a key for the bike too. It can connect. So it seems like the Bluetooth receiver must be in the mount, and that's why it's a little bit bigger. Remember, there's the USB port on the side too. Anyway, we were messing with the bike, and it gave you a text, and it was like, your bike's being stolen. We were like, sweet, it works. And then, you know, being able to track it down using that prepaid 2-year like SIM card setup, and beyond that, it sounds like maybe the price isn't complete yet, but $25, $35 a year.
$25 and $30.
That's what they're aiming for. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. It feels like we went pretty fast, but we went through a lot of different features there. Did we miss anything, Chris?
No, I think that's it.
Thank you. Well, let's head up. So coming back up here to the front wheel, I just want to, you know, I love how these rims look. They are deep V, which tends to be pretty strong, but they require a special tube because there's more volume in there. And I believe they're double walled and everything. That's a Presta valve. And if you look at the front, so it's using 9mm like skewers, but not quick release. And that's because it comes with this little key. So, you know, it's almost like, it's not the world's most secure key, but if you want to take the wheel off the bike, you have to use this, and you can put that with the AXA keys for a little battery. I just think that's kind of neat. They were paying extra attention, if this was being ridden in a city environment, not to have vulnerabilities, you know, people potentially taking parts off of your bike. And again, the integrated lights and everything help that as well. Over here we've got a Piaggio branded AXA frame lock that could mount right here, okay? And in Europe, a lot of the e-bikes have this where it puts a rod through the spoke so people just can't move your bike. And you figure, like, it's a 60-pound bike. So, you know, first of all, they can't ride it, so they have to, like, walk away with your bike. It's just a quick stop kind of lock. They sell that separately. Unfortunately, it's not key to the battery. So you're going to end up with an extra pair of keys. And I should mention, you know, I was talking about how nice the fenders and racks are, but there's no bottle cage bosses here. I see how it keeps the frame beautiful, and would you really want a bottle cage here? You'd be kicking it every time you got onto the bike. But sometimes you can use it for a cafe lock or a mini pump or whatever, and it's nice to have. So hopefully in the future they'll be thinking about somewhere to put some bottle cage bosses, even on the high step. On this one, you're less likely to kick it, but they still don't have any bottle cage bosses. And then again, it's up to you to use them. You could take the screws out and it'd be fairly seamless. And then the charger. So you're getting a really great charger with this in terms of power output. It's 4 amps, whereas a lot of e-bike chargers are just 2. It only weighs a couple pounds, which isn't terrible considering how big it is. I mean, it's just really big. I guess that's my only complaint. It has this proprietary plug design, and you can charge on or off the bike. Charging off the bike is nice if you live somewhere it's really cold or hot and you're storing that in the garage, because you know those extreme temperatures can be a little tough on batteries and stuff. So sometimes you take the battery in close to a power outlet, and then you can store the bike somewhere else. Same with the display. I love that they're both removable like that. And then this another huge thing. This is like a manual. It's in multiple languages because Piaggio is a international company. And then this little backpack for the Wi-Bike, so you can put the charger in here. It looks like it's water resistant. So we've covered, you know, these 3 models. They're kind of the comfort, and then you step over to the active line, and what that means in my mind, it's like, okay, you go from 20 mile per hour top speed to roughly 28. It's a speed pedelec, okay, class 3. So we're going from class 1 to class 3. None of these have throttles. Class 3 is neat if you're someone who's commuting around town and you want to get there a little bit faster. Maybe you just enjoy the thrill of riding at a higher speed. Colors are slightly different. You can see this one has the diamond, and it's a plus model because it has NuVinci, and this one actually has the Harmony H-Sync. So this has electronic shifting, and you can automatically set it to basically maintain your cadence or maintain like a certain speed, so you don't have to think about shifting as much. It's kind of neat. And then again, they've got this little app retainer right up here in the front, and the price definitely jumps up. But nice that they have those options. And again, this is where the rear rack could mount. There's just a lot to say. A lot of excitement around this brand. It's the first time I've seen them. Getting to meet with the company is a whole bunch of fun, and especially in such a beautiful place. Check out this. I don't know if this is like a boat slip. This is where they would launch the old boats and stuff. Very cool. So I was talking to Larry a second ago, and he said it's $39.99 for the active line with the H-Sync. I'm really surprised, okay, considering that the Comfort Plus is $36.99. So $300 more, you can get the speed and you get the electronic shifting.
That's correct.
That's neat. Yeah. Hey guys, we're at Vespa Brooklyn. We're gonna take a little ride around. Everyone's on bikes. We've got Larry and Andrew back there. Looks like you've even, can you turn your light on there, Andrew? Really nice. I love how it aims down a little bit. These aren't the kind of lights that are gonna blind people. And the fenders, they're really well reinforced. They're tubular, Piaggio branded, just, premium stuff. We're gonna head down to the Navy Yard. And I'm in tour right now, so we'll just ease along. It's neat to see how on the display that gear sort of fills up with how much power I'm putting out versus how much the motor is. I'm gonna flatten this hill on the NuVinci. Yeah, I can really feel it. Tons of fun. Look at those E3 LED lights from Supernova. Even though they're kind of small, they really, they get your attention. And then this is the shifting at standstill that I was talking about. Really nice to be able to do that. And the high step version, a little bit stiffer. The frame's gonna feel more comfortable that way. I love that the step-thru also comes in that gloss black for people who just want a easier to approach frame, but maybe still want that masculine coloring going on. Here we are. A little off-roading with that suspension fork. It's definitely a more efficient bike. I'm feeling some of the bumps. There's not as long of travel as you get with just kind of the more traditional fork, but that's going to weigh a little bit more too. Pretty good braking, hydraulic, 180 millimeter in the front, so I'm using my front brake to stop. A little bit of, there's a little bit of, takes a second to get that motor engaged, but it's smooth. And I'm also hearing a little bit of that whine, similar to like maybe a Bosch, Shimano, Yamaha. Yeah, a little bit of that delayed start. However, when it kicks on, I am in power mode right now. You do feel it. It's getting us up almost 20. It's kind of easing back close to 20. So I wonder what kind of RPM they're able to match. I might need to shift gears to get full speed. Going for the speed test now. I'm still getting a little bit of power. You can see on the gear right there, and we're over 20. So very capable that way. Lots of fun. And even though I said, it's the step-thru, it's the frame's a little bit of flex, but not much. The battery weight, the motor weight, it's all very low, very center on the frame. Feels good. Chris, how's that one feeling for you, the high step?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's a little stiff. I mean, like the tires are not the widest, so but they get a little suspension, and seating position is pretty comfortable.
Yeah, you look comfortable, and that's the medium frame.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so we're down here. You should be able to see their belt system moving along. Compared to the gate system, there's not like that center track, but I haven't had any issues with it going off track. There's actually a little bit of a wall on the rear sprocket. 22 teeth back there. Up here, you'll just be able to see the motor starting and stopping, looking for how responsive it is, but it's super clean, especially with this chain cover. Lost lap. So we just got back from a ride, and I want to reiterate, this is like a smoother, kind of a subtler support, even in power, compared to some of the systems that just feel like, this one didn't have issues shifting. I didn't hear it banging too much, even though there isn't shift detection built in. It's nice to get to try models back to back, because the other one was NuVinci, so the Deore system's working pretty well. I noticed I was riding in some of the lower gears. Maybe there's a larger kind of a chain ring on the front. But again, the smaller frame, keep in mind that the included suspension post is going to add about 3 inches, and you could bring that saddle down even lower if you got a traditional rigid frame, and again, I believe 31.6. So, that experience of, I did have to push a little bit more before the motor engages. It's kind of like, okay, there we go, and it ramps up, and then when I stop, it kind of eases out. So it's just this flowy, a little bit more subtle, and I think that fits this particular model very well. The comfort model, like it delivers that, and the ride feels smooth and yeah, it's premium kind of a feel. I'm hanging out with Andrew. This is his store. This is Vespa Brooklyn, and I just thought it'd be cool to go inside because you've got these lined up. They look so nice.
Let's check it out.
Beautiful. Oh yeah, I love all the. I mean, yeah, this is the Vespas and everything. Like, can you give me just like a quick tour?
Yeah. So we've got Aprilia, Moto Guzzi. We've got Vespa scooters, Piaggio scooters, and here's the lineup of the new Wi-Bike.
Wow. And you said you've had them for maybe a few months now?
So we've had these since beginning of August. Sales have been very strong. We've sold over a dozen units already.
This is neat. So people maybe come in for a motorcycle or Vespa, and is that how they're exposed, or are they actually seeking these out?
Well, we've started out by exposing it to our existing clientele. So we know that our existing clientele are cyclists already that might be looking for a new type of technology or a new type of vehicle. So we've really started targeting there. But then we're getting customers that come in that say, well, I don't want to get a license or insurance.
Yeah,
so
that's
great. Now I have another vehicle for you to commute with.
Yeah, especially in Brooklyn. A lot of people
Brooklyn and New
cycling.
York are a hard place to own a motor vehicle. Insurance can be expensive, parking can be difficult, and in New York we've got over 1,000 miles of bike lanes now. So cycling and commuting via bicycle is becoming friendlier and friendlier every year.
Yeah.
And now with a solution like this, you can really have the best of both worlds. You can commute to work in the morning. Yeah. You can not sweat in your nice dress shirt because you've got some assistance.
Speaking of which, yeah, you're very.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. So
yeah.
But with the fitness app that we have on the iPhone and Android, you can then turn this into a fitness machine. And on the way home, you can dial up and say, you know what, I want to burn 800 calories tonight. And then you've got yourself a commuter and a workout bike.
That was so cool. Yeah, the app on this is one of the neatest that I've seen in a while. You know, again, this is cool. Do you have a website that people can visit?
We do. So our website is WeBikeNYC.com.
Okay, well, people will check it out. Thanks again.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure. It's awesome to get all the details and to meet someone who's kind of a flagship store bringing these into America. And of course, Chris, I appreciate your help with all the specs and everything. I think that's about it, guys. Have fun out there. Ride safe.